right on the amazing.
Statement.
I want to tell you a story.
This has been brought to you by the Campus Action Network. We can't normalize y'all.
I'm ready to get up and do my thing.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
I want to get into it, man, you know.
That is not what we're doing.
How about you?
Fuck no, dude. Not gonna fucking happen.
Where's that faggot?
Oh my god, yes.
Do it, man. Because this is gonna be so awesome if we get it right.
I wish I could say the same for you.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, bro, can we come party with you in the pros tonight?
How are we going to stop now, right?
What really good?
That's Rich. Play me off, Johnny.
I'm Rick James.
You're now listening to the Bacon Hour Podcast.
All you lovely people, please subscribe and follow me on social media.
So, come on, little chicken. I'll tell you, man.
Respects the silence. It serves the foundation of creativity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Bacon Hour Podcast. I'm your host with the most voices, Steven, and today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. We're talking about the wonders of content creation. So, if you're a listener out there who loves creating content and just, flexing that creative muscle in your brain, come on by, stick around and listen. Today my guest is a small-time content creator and videographer for the Subculture Car Club. Hey, what do you know? I just had last episode's guest, that being that guy who was a part of that same car club. How you doing, Ashley?
Doing good. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing absolutely
Good.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm doing excellent today. So, small-time content creator.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of insight on the content you create?
Okay, so I do kind of a variety right now, and I experiment with, different, things and styles and stuff, and, a lot of my ideas just come from, random dreams or visions when listening to music or anything like that. So, coming from all of that and everything, I thought it would be a cool idea to kind of mix that into subculture, the car club and everything, and I wanted to be able to film some of the memories and everything like that, because I'm a passenger of one of the cars very often, so I see things in my head kind of cinematic already. So to be able to want to put all of that into a video for everybody else to see it that way.
You're a visionary.
Cool, yeah.
You're visionary with the type of lenses you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So, variety of content. Is it... Because I think I've seen a little bit of your stuff. I know you record for a lot of the... promotional stuff for Subculture, and then there's, little tiny vlogs and stuff that you do, right? Yeah. That's interesting. I always loved the vlog format of videos and things. Yeah. I didn't watch them when they were a big thing back then on YouTube in 2017, 18 or something around that era when stuff didn't go to shit. And and I always thought they were so interesting because it's a nice peek into
Yeah.
I think nowadays if I watch any vlog type content, it's always I think the YouTuber that comes right off the top of my head is someone named Shay,
okay.
Shiey, and they do a lot of urban exploration and stuff, or they'll train hop and shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the most exciting part, because it's you just don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if this guy's gonna have to run from authorities or something.
Definitely.
Or whatever. Though of course it's stuff's illegal and whatnot, but there's other vlog type content. Sometimes I get really bored and I'll just be like, hey, maybe I'll see what's going on with so and so guy from Japan who lives in his little van that's just souped up and packed. Guy can survive in the harsh winters of Japan and stuff, up in the mountains and stuff. He's comfy in there. He's eating good. And I'm just god damn, dude. Yeah. That's really interesting. Also, sometimes I'll watch recently I just got into this one guy who's he's a young guy, and he does trucking, and he'll vlog his trucking adventures. Sometimes he'll take his kids, sometimes he'll take his family with him. And it's, I don't know, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because vlogging and everything, it's it's cool because it's a summarized, simplified like 5-minute, maybe sometimes longer video of like how
peek
that
into
day
their-
went, their
yeah,
life and everything
peek
and
into
how
their
it
day, their
went.
life.
Yeah, it's cool because it's like that's what I do because it's like I'm, with Subculture a lot of the time, so it's cool to see like I want to put that video into, our eyes and how we experienced that day and that car show and everything like that, and so it's pretty cool.
And like, I don't know, it's just that interesting to me.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted to kind of look into doing vlogging, but then I thought like my life's not really that interesting. At the time it wasn't.
The things people watch.
The things people watch.
You'll be fine.
You never know. So I kind of, now that we've kind of gotten a little premise out of the way of what our episode is going to truly be about, let's just kind of dive into the conversation here. So let's begin with what our drive is, what motivates us. Outside of likes and just having our own content being spread around, because that's a good feeling. I know for everybody whose content creates out there, I know it's a good feeling to have some sort of feedback or some sort of like it's like the praise kind of in a way. But what like motivates you to like, aside from likes and stuff and praise, right? Like what motivates you to just continue creating, to keep doing this, to keep flexing that creative brain muscle, or whatever it's called?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm using.
No. I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of really being able to get that kind of like relief. I don't know how to really say it correctly, but like that relief from like getting something that was in your mind and everything, and you really want to like share it with everybody else, and you really want to like make that a physical reality is kind of cool to see, because it's like, like I mentioned, I witness these certain things every single day, and I am somebody who I love music and everything like that. So if music's playing and I'm seeing something, I'm like, wow, that would be really cool if like I could see this in like a music video or something, or I could see a really cinematic shot of this right now. So it's cool to be able to like get that vision out and to be physical and to be satisfied with that project in the end.
So it's like a sense of accomplishment from getting to realize your vision.
And then
stuff.
It's cool because it's like I put that out there, and then touching on like the feedback and everything though is like it's cool to see that people they're able to connect with it also. Engage. Sometimes and be like, oh, like that was cool how you did that and everything. Like it's nice to see like they relate to it sometimes.
I get what you mean, and I think people are gonna finally get to, if anybody's out there listening and you're like, oh, is he gonna talk about it? Or I will talk about it. My current little big project, I Hate Fairyland, at least an adaptation of it, is really good. But let me delve away from it. I know I keep like keep hanging the donut in front of people, or like I keep hanging the bone in front of them. Like, can you please talk about it? I'm like, yeah, I'll talk about it. But I just want to real quickly touch on like how people like engage and stuff. Just recently, I done a dumb little video. I just thought on a whim. I was like, okay, have you ever heard of that Chinese beaver meme?
Yeah.
He's like, he's doing the thing, and nobody can understand him because he's speaking Mandarin. I recently had like just said, fuck it. I'll dub it in English. There had been like 2 other people who had done it. One of them was like, I think some like, it feels like really computery. It feels like an AI like did it or something. It's like there's no emotion to it. Second guy did it. He actually voiced it. It was an actual person. They did it, but it felt like there was something missing from it. And so I took my shot at it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just dub it. I was thinking like, how do I make it? Because Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever, whichever the dialect from China that he's speaking in, really fast language, really complex stuff. So I had to figure like, okay, English is a simplified language compared to like Chinese, and I thought like, how am I going to fit the message of what he's actually saying? Because I had to research like what he was saying, and it's some pretty deep stuff. I can only remember like a few lines off the top of my head, but he was saying something like, it's like, he's like, you think I'm a beggar or like something like that, or it's like, I have my own principles. I don't want to be trapped here forever. Like for 3 years, I've lost everything. Yeah, like all that stuff, and I had to like get creative and with how he would say it in English. And ever since then, like I just uploaded a whim. I said it's stupid, whatever. I showed my friends, yada yada, done with it. It got way too much attention for what it was worth.
What?
Yeah, I got like I think like the last number I saw was like 16K views on it or something. It's crazy.
Dang.
I don't know.
Okay.
People love seeing the dub of a Chinese beaver meme from China.
Yeah.
And there's like a few comments on there that were like, you know, one was like critical and he was like, oh, you could do better. You know, you could do better with the lip sync. Like I tried my best with the lip sync, but it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But you could do so much. And then there was like 2 other ones that really stuck out, and I'll talk about them real quick. And they were like, one was like, this is really good. I love the emotion you put into it. I was like, I only just did this as a joke. I know sometimes you do something way too intense.
Natural.
You do something so serious that it's not taken seriously, but for other people, it's like taken seriously. And then there was another one who was like, you know, hi, you know, I'm Chinese here. And you did a great job with this. Like speaking as like a Chinese, somebody who's from China or like somebody who's of Chinese like descent. Cool. They said like you did such a good job with translating it from thing to English. I was like, I didn't even put that much effort into it, but that was cool and all that. And yeah, I like that kind of engagement. I wish there was people more critical of what I do, because then I can like, you know, what can I improve on? Yeah, just don't be a dick about it. Because I know there's people who are like, this is bad. And be like, why was it bad? And be like, I just don't like it. I don't like how it sounds. It's like, well then you're not being critical of it. You're just stupid.
Were there bad comments?
There was like not really. Much of it was just like other random like this is funny, or like, you know, it was just like top surface line stuff, which is not bad. I appreciate it. But it's like one was like just kind of skimming the surface of critical. They didn't like go really in depth. It's like people just love to see the funny beaver and English, right? Yeah. But anyways, touching back to I Hate Fairyland, or at least why that is keep me motivated. Why that's, you know, thing is because, like aside from the praise and the stuff that we as individuals who create content crave, I just like to see. I love to see how I can adapt each panel, each page from that comic, because it really boils down to, you know, at a time I was like kind of inspiring myself from somebody else who had done it before me. They didn't get very far. They only reached like issue 5. I'm now on issue 10. Now I'm kind of just trailblazing my own like way on how. Now that everything that's coming out of this adaptation is from my mind, from like, not just my mind, but from like the like talented lot that, you know, works on Fairyland with me. I have to give a big shout out to everybody who works on it. Nice. I love working with them, and I love getting to sit down and do like sessions with them. They're just such a fun lot. But yeah, like seeing what I can do with these pages, how I can bring them to life as much as I can, not just with the performances, but with like the visual and stuff. And you know, you'll probably, this probably won't be the last. Like you'll probably hear me talk about I Hate Fairyland on this episode a lot, which, you know, good for people who like to hear a little bit of my head and what goes on in my head when doing this. But because this project is like really special to me, I really want to see how, like, you know, I want to see how far it goes, how much it grows, and like just I want to see how much I can do with it before I'm done with it. Yeah. Because there's only like, as of right now, there's only like 10 more issues left, and it just gets crazy because it's a whole 20 issue thing. But we're just taking it. Yeah, we're just taking it one issue at a time. But I want to see where we go with this and how grand I can do the finale and stuff. Cool. But yeah, that's my end of what keeps me motivated.
No, I like that.
It's kind of like going back to you. Like I just like seeing how, if I have a vision, if I have some sort of mental image in my picture and be like, I want this to happen. I want to make it happen. I'll try everything in my power to make it happen. Yeah. But
I like that you talked about kind of like seeing like your own personal growth in it, because it's like when I, you know, create stuff and everything too, like I'm a videographer sometimes for like special events like weddings, and you know, like that's a really big deal, and it's like I want to get it right the first time. But it's like, you know, I always ask like, oh, okay, like, you know, for a wedding specifically, it's like, okay, send me your, you know, your songs or whatever that are special to your relationship or something.
Right.
And it's like, you know, it's cool to see, to be able to like capture that kind of
moments.
you know, symbolism for their relationship within a video is really cool too.
Right.
And it's like but it's like, you know, I did like my first wedding, and then it was like cool to see that, like, okay, I'm gonna be able to see my growth from this one.
Yeah,
it's
just gonna get better from here.
Yeah.
I think as you go on with that, I think you'll find like your style. You'll find like you'll
that's
find your bread and butter, what works for you,
Yeah.
which shots.
That's
you should
what's
take.
nice to see.
Because it's like making film, but it's like real life. It's like candid film, but for these people that want their wedding,
personal,
wedding to be digitized and forever immortal in a hard drive or whatever format. I don't know what format they prefer, but I like that. I like how you want to also see yourself grow.
Yeah.
Look back every once in a while, see how far you come.
I mean, it's crazy because I see like the first video that I did, and I'm like,
oh my god, the first video.
Yeah, like,
it always circles back to.
Ew.
I have something to talk. I have something to talk about, like weddings, but I'll save that for. I don't know. Maybe I'll save it for like right after what I talk about. Right now. But like seeing your first video is like such a like. It's such a trip because I did that when I was in between like I Hate Fairyland like 9 and 10.
Okay.
Because it was like the big season finale of this like because I did like, you know, first 5 issues, the next 5 issues, and then it's like now it's like we're taking a break. And between like 9 and 10, I just said like how far have I come? And I look back and it's weird because a lot of people probably, if they ever do listen to this, if they ever like see like go through my video catalog all the way down, they're gonna find an Archie Comics dub I did forever ago. I think this was in like 2018 or something. This was like a really long time ago, and you know we did it was like a big joint effort, and they probably will notice that this is part 2 of like a 2-part thing. To shed some light on that mystery, it's because that the first part is gone. It's lost media. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, but I don't know what happened to the first part. I do know the person who did the first part, but I haven't brought it up, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I can share more information about that. But yeah, that first part's lost media. But my part is still up because it's like it was like, oh, if you want to watch part 1, go to their channel. You want part 2, come to my channel.
Oh, cool.
And it was like it's like such a trip because it's like I listen to myself and I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm a person, I'm a Mexican person of color voicing a white redhead character teenager guy. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I guess because people don't think I'm you know who I say I am, like, you know, culture wise or whatever. They think like, oh, my name is like Bob or John, or like they think I'm like some other kind of guy. Yeah. They think I'm like white guy or something, but I'm not. And I'm like, funny. You know, it's funny, but I don't know. I played to that part as best as I could. I tried, and and by the way, that first video was technically also my first time editing. Wow. I have come a long way. I have looked back, and I have told myself, if I could go back and with the skills I had now, and I can re-edit that, I would, because there's like these like black borders on the pages, and I'm like, at the time I didn't know that like with my editing program I can just like put a white just a blank white picture of the color white, and I could overlay that behind that image, and I could have made the comic panels look a little like the behind it look a little more forward. It looks so ugly. I'm like, oh, but I can't give myself too much like flack because you know, at that time I was barely learning the program. I was barely like learning how everything worked and stuff, and I just was like, you know, all that. Also, it was kind of like a little bit of a start of like managing several voice actors and going back and forth with him and all that, and it was just like, but like it was a lot easier because a lot of the voice lines were done, and I could have just, you know, slotted them in, all that stuff. It was almost how I do previs now, like but except minus the sound effects and stuff, because I do that, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, it's so humbling to see it, but it's so interesting because it's like, look how far I've come. Also, that just like my voice acting like skill, talent wise, it's like I've come from, you know, it's like you're your only worst critic, you know.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Now I can do things that will require me to, you know, like, no, it's Philly voice time, but I want to get serious, whatever, right?
I'm King Candy.
Yeah, I'm King Candy. Yeah, that there you go, people. There's my Laragon Winsworth III King Candy funny voice. You guys can hear it now, okay? Finally, so I can do it in a thing. I just don't do it a lot because I'm like, not because I'm shy, because I'm just like I don't have the need to do it, but I should do it more often.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I should do it more often to make you guys smile. So you know, don't go fluffing, do anything stupid.
Yeah, Sour Bell. Do you look back on your first project and think like, you know, like it was good for like the experience that you know, did or didn't have with editing and everything?
That's a good question. Thank you for asking. A lot of my guests don't ask questions, but we gotta change that. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah.
I think it was good for its time. I think at the time, because I was beginning, and I don't want to be too harsh on myself, because I know, you know, even the stuff I do now, I'll look back and I'll be like, could have done something better.
Yes,
right.
I get what
and
you
it's
mean.
just a cycle that just keeps going as you keep going. But yeah, I don't feel the need to change anything. If that's where I came from, if that's how I started, then, you know, we all have to start from somewhere. I don't want to have to redo it.
Yeah.
I don't want to redo it. I think it's fine the way it is. What about you? Do you think?
Yeah, no, what you were saying, like, I see stuff from, like, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, like, I swore that looked, you know, flawless, and then now it's like, oh my gosh, that color looks horrible. Right. And, you know, but it's, you know, that's what it's cool to look at. Like, you're always growing, and you're always, you know, trying new things every project, and it's cool to see how you evolve in that, so.
Right. Yeah, and I love that. I love that about being a content creator. Whether you're harsh on yourself for what you could have done, or you think like you're somewhere like, you know, me or you think it's like, you know, it's good for what it was at the time. Maybe I could have done better. Maybe I could do better. I could redo it, but it's like, I don't know. We'll see and all that. Anyways, there's a tangent. I almost was completely forgetting there's a tangent that I wanted to say about like weddings and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I actually bartended for a wedding once.
Yeah?
Yeah, they got okay, it was I'll just real quickly go into it. So there was a time when like my friend's brother had a wedding, and their dad was like, "Hey, you know your two friends from California? Yeah. We don't really have that many, like, you know, because a lot of this this wedding was planned like out of like the family, like so any family member that was making sure that things are in check, that was their job. You know, there was a job for the bridesmaids, a job for the decorations. Everybody that had a job was a part of that family. And when they were like, we don't have no bartenders or something. I say bartender loosely because we quite literally were just like, we're focused on the taps, you know, we just pumped in, we're just like, here's your drink, here we have that drink, here's beer, here's flavored, like it's like mixed drink kind of. Here's beer, and here's like mixed drink.
Here's water.
And and we had all that cool stuff, and you know, we had a lot of other stuff that we were just like handing out to the much younger audience in the crowd, because they just had like waters and sodas. It's a typical thing. Yeah. It was pretty cool. I loved it. I got to meet this really cool guy who's a content creator on TikTok. Blake. I know you're out there, Blake, but I'll probably tell you like I mentioned you. But Blake, you're cool. Hope to see you again, man. And he was like the videographer for the thing. It's kind of interesting because that was his first time doing.
Oh gosh, really?
It was his first time doing like a big videography thing, and they just asked him on a whim because he knew I think he knew the groom, which was like my friend's brother. Yeah. And but that was interesting. It was funny. We had to stop one of their family members from like drinking, because he was like I don't remember which side of the family he's from, but he's like on the less liked side on that side of the family.
Yeah.
And we had to tell him like, dude, you're cut off. You stopped. And he refused. He almost stole our tip jar. We actually had a tip. We had a little tip cup because we were like, man, we're making all these people, this family happy. Why don't we?
We should do this.
We should capitalize on we should capitalize on that. And then there was like it was a really nice like member of their family who was like I remember he like put like a whole fucking 100 in there. And he was like, don't go fighting over it. I was just like,
exactly
me and Andrew were just looking at each other like, oh, I got a full 100. Right. But we were getting paid even after the fact. But we just thought the tip cup was a good idea because we were like, we're not gonna see this family.
You came up with the.
Well,
tip
it was
thing?
it was more like my friend who came up with the
Okay.
things. He was like, dude, we're not gonna see this whole family again ever, so we might as well just capitalize on it now while we still can and just split it at the end, right? 50-50. And it was a fun time. I wish if I could do it again, I would. But like, for the love of God, don't trust me with actually mixing drinks. Just trust me with doing
Don't say
taps.
I know a bartender.
Like, don't say I know a bartender. Say I know a guy who's good on taps.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm good at.
My family might need you soon.
Oh.
Not me.
Okay. No, I know. Okay. So rounding back onto the conversation here, I wanted to ask about your individual process. Take a step by step from like the beginning of when you conceptualize an idea all the way to the end where you're doing the final checks and you're ready to upload that baby. Like, take us through it. So,
step by step.
Putting you on stage, the limelight's on you. Action.
Great. Okay. I think, so of course, it comes with like an idea, a vision, and everything that just, I can't explain that. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. And it's like, I could be at home and I could see something and want to make like a short film or something like that. Or like I said, when I'm with Subculture and everything, like, I see things all cinematic and everything. And so it's like, let me go ahead and make this a reality. And it's cool because it's like, I don't have all of the, tools and stuff like that, like to, film certain things, but
like
it's
those
cool.
Little lighting shades.
Yeah, like you don't have like this like rolling thing, and you don't have this thing and a crane and everything. But it's only me, so it's like I have to do some crazy things sometimes to like film and make it a reality. But it's it's cool because it's like
showbiz, that's how it be. You gotta put a guy upside down holding the camera.
Yes,
and get
oh my gosh,
your angle or something. I've seen it happen.
Rope and tape and but. Yeah, so it's, it starts from a vision, and then it's definitely like I just pick a day, and then I'm gonna, do whatever it is, and I have to figure out music is a really big deal in, any kind of video thing that I make. Exactly. And so it's like I have to have like some kind of song or something that's like, okay, like, so I have to look through like a bunch of playlists and everything, and like, what kind of vibe did this give off kind
royalty
of thing.
Free.
Yeah.
Royalty free, we've all been.
And so it's kind of like...
Shout out to my boy Kevin McLeod. Fucking love that guy. He's providing all the free internet music. I love that guy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it's like, I have to see like what kind of, feeling am I going for in this and everything. So it's like I have to, really map out like, okay, how am I going to get that angle? How am I going to get that to move without me moving it?
Right.
And, so it's like, I kind of really have to like think about each step like that, and then it goes into, 100 takes and everything, and let me do that again, and then, it's irritating, and then the best part is like, sitting down and putting it into your computer and being able to like edit the whole thing and make it happen, and that will take hours, but that's basically the full process for me. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, okay. So you guys are gonna get to hear some secrets revealed. Yes. Okay. So first and foremost for me, it all starts with a script. A script and looking over the comic. Like, I'm just going to use I Hate Fairyland as an example because it's on my head.
Yeah.
So it all starts, let's say if I'm doing, I don't know, like issue 20 or something. It starts with reading it over.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself. I just like I sit down, put on some music, a little quiet on the background, just to kind of like, thing. And I'm just reading and I'm visualizing like how these characters, like feeling the scene, what's going on.
Yeah.
How can I envision that they're saying, certain things, what's going to be the tone of the scene.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the script, which I do it in a format where it's sort of like a transcript of what each character is saying. I'll try to like make it as I try to fill it with as much direction as possible. Like, for example, say like Gertrude, irritated, angry. She doesn't like what Larry is saying, and then it'll be the line or something. And I'll try to make it as interactive as possible by putting like certain words in like bold and italic and capitalized. So when they say like "fluff you," like that's gonna be in bold and italic and capitalized and stuff. And then so I pretty much do all that for each character that has a speaking role, big or small.
Cool.
I have to do it all myself. I have to do it, and then comes the fun part, which is getting to sit down with the actors I work with, and I get to do like a one-on-one session with them, usually via Discord. I love each and every one of them because they're so talented, they're so wonderful, and we'll sometimes be sitting there for an hour. It's sort of like a kind of on the clock, off the clock thing. Cause I know in between, because sometimes we'll focus. We'll really focus. We'll be like, hey, we're getting these lines down. We're gonna take the next hour to do this. Yada yada. We'll take it line by line, panel by panel. I'll send them the comic to have them look at what's going on, so they get a bit of thing. And usually it's like take 1, take 2. Give me take 3, something from your head. Like I want them to have just as much as creative flexibility with how they would present their lines and stuff. And then for variety's sake, maybe I might say, can we do that one more time? But can I do emphasis on so and so word? Or can I get less shouty anger, more gritted teeth anger? I have to use terms that are like to better thing. I'm not like voice director, but doing this project has taught me like quite a bit of like what it means to kind of like tell them like how a line could be delivered or something, or just like we kind of brainstorm together. And sometimes we'll get something from my end, sometimes we'll get something from their end, or it's a combination of both. I'll just be voice directing them, and then like bada bing bada boom. I'll try to do that. I try to do this whole like session thing on Discord with a lot of the actors, but sometimes, whether they're shy or they just don't feel like doing a one-on-one session with me, which I understand. I mean, more power to them. I respect your decision. I'm not going to try to press you for doing a session with me, because that's completely like an agreement between me and said actor. But yeah, there's that. And if it comes down to having to go back and forth, we'll be like, here's your lines, here's your deadline. I try to put as much direction as possible, like what the voice I'm looking for, because usually I'm working with the same actors each issue every now and then. And then they'll just go back and forth with me. I'll take a listen to the entire track, and then I'll be like, I have some notes for line 13. Can we get a little bit of this and that? And then we'll just keep going back and forth. It's like a turnaround thing. It's just, that's how we do it. And then, kind of going back a little bit with the on the clock, off the clock thing. We'll vibe. We when we were recording, it's like I'm not like a big boss guy. I'm not like I'm super important or something. No, I'm just the same as them, me, like, because we're all voice actors. I'm just trying to be like, I'm trying to be somebody fun to work with.
Nice. Good.
And from the sessions and stuff, I'd say I have a really great time recording with them.
Good.
But I can't speak for myself. I'd probably let them say how it is, and all that. And then after all that, not to mention I have to do, when it comes down to my lines for my character, I have to do that stuff with my older brother, because he'll like record and pause and all that stuff, and sometimes he'll give me kind of some direction, be like, wouldn't it be funnier if you said it this way? And I'm like, hey, that's right. And then so that whole process like alone takes like maybe a week because I'm sitting down with these actors for like an hour each day or something. Sometimes I won't schedule them. I'll rarely schedule them on the same day. But if it's on the same day, I have to do it. Like you're going first, then you're going, and then so on and so forth. It gets the job done faster, but I gotta learn how to like proactively schedule things the way they should be, structure them.
Yeah, I have another question.
Yes.
So going back to talking about like you picking characters and everything like that, and I don't know. I was just curious about it.
Yeah, ask away.
Talking about like how do you go about picking like the certain characters, like the emotion that you want to put into certain characters? Like how do I pick that?
I pick that by.
Is it just because their character is that way and established already?
I think it's more as a sense of like because, and if I really needed to go all the way back, I think it's because like. When I did cast these actors to these characters, I knew for a fact that okay, we're gonna hit some like points where let's say the comic decides to take a deep approach or decides to be a little somber for a bit. I think to myself, that could be a fun challenge because maybe these characters aren't so one dimensional. Maybe these characters, they'll find themselves having to have like a very emotional beat in a scene or something if the comic calls for it, or if I just say like, you know what, screw it, this is how I would love to see it and whatnot go down. Nice. Like I don't know, it's fun to have to do like moments where like I don't know, like take my character. He's a silly little sounding fly or whatever, and you think like, oh, he's a silly voice. I really don't want to have to do this. But then there's like moments where I'm gonna have to like emote with him. I'm gonna have to make him sound sad. Like I'm really gonna have to make him sound sad. Like soul crushingly sad or something. Or maybe there's a moment where he gets to laugh. Maybe he's not so deprived.
What's his laugh like?
Oh well, I'm not gonna do it right here but if you want to go hear it, I think it's like it was the most recent issue I did. I think it was 10. Yeah, it was 10. We got to hear him. Oh no, wait. No, it was issue 8. My bad. The whole big anime one. We got to hear him laugh, and I thought I did a pretty good job.
Is it like a rare occasion for him to laugh?
It's a rare occasion for that character to laugh, because he's always he's always deprived of any sense of happiness.
What?
Yeah, he
I
does
have to
not.
Watch this.
He does not want to be there any more than Gertrude does. But yeah, and but getting to have to emote with this character is so much fun and such a challenge because I'm like, how would he sound like when he's laughing? How would he sound like when he's sad or angry or for the little moment that he had, he may be happy, right? Or whatever. But yeah, I'll just kind of go about that. And I would like to jump on the opportunity every moment that I get. Yeah. Going back to my process here, just gonna kind of like try to go about this a little more summarizingly because I know it's not a word, but I'm gonna try to go about this a little more in a summarized fashion because it's like I got quite a bit here. Okay, so we left off with we record with actors, then. Once all those takes are complete, once the thing, I'll have a bunch of audio to narrow down and have to edit down. Narrow each take to like the one that's gonna make it in the final one, right? So maybe every so often we'll have that one golden take, and I won't have to do anything with it. I'll do the cool compression, the equalization, all the fancy bells and whistles that goes into audio editing that I had to learn and all that stuff. And then once that, grueling hours of audio editing, it's the fun part, which is the visual editing, which is taking these pages from the comics and doing all that I can to make them, to sort of, at least at first, I'll like sort of black box them. I'll kind of like pre-visualization. Like I'll do that. It's just pretty much the bare bone comic page kind of centered to that panel with the actor, with the voices that are like, oh, here's the thing, here's the timing of the thing, got to make this sound as natural as I can in the conversation for the comic. And then, all that stuff, and then comedic timing and all that stuff because it's like sound effects will be added in later, and then the sound effects I'll go along with the like when I'm doing previs, I'll go along with like, does a sound effect need to be here? A sound effect does need to be here. Chopping somebody's head off, axe swing, blood, gut, like that gross like gut sound and stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then I'll just try to see whatever makes the scene pop. Maybe put some ambience in there. I don't know. It really depends, and then see what goes in the final cut, and then just work through it all. Despite it still being a work in progress, even after I do all this stuff, some things might get cut, some things might get reused, some things might get added. So it's it's a big process going through it, and then after that, I'll just be masking the thing. So I'll be separating the way the way that it's all structured is that like it's always like just each panel is its own separate little like scene. It's like because we're focusing on that. I don't do the thing where it's like you can see the panel, but then you see like the different other like comic pages in the borders of things. Like it looks so cluttered and ugly. It's like I kind of zone it out. I kind of like we're focusing on this panel, then we go on to the next panel, and then yada yada, and then I'll see about creating assets that I need to make stuff move. Okay. Sometimes I'll go in and I will do the cool magic thing where I will kind of redraw. I'll get some help to get it redrawn, but I'll have to like redraw like maybe a background or something. And usually sometimes when it comes down to like redrawing background and stuff, it's like the comic style, like the art is like messy, which is I love. Yeah. And it makes it a lot easier to like redraw stuff because lines aren't straight in that thing. Lines are all over the place. Lines are not like stagnant or rigid, and it's fun to do that. And also, it's cool to get to like say if there's like an onomatopoeia on screen. Let's say like there's a knock 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 on the door. I will grab those words, I'll take them out of the page, and then I'll redraw whatever's like blanked and white, from taking it out of the page. Okay. And then, I'll go back and I'll kind of clean up those onomatopoeias, and then I'll make them their own separate little asset. And then, when I put it back in the thing, I'll mask them, and I'll do everything I can to make them like, sort of transparent. And then when time comes, it's almost like when I put it in the final thing, it's like oh knock knock knock. The letters will go like bam bam bam. That's cool. I love it. I hope to do as much more of that as I can. Anyways, after that, it's just scoring it, which meaning I'll add background music or ambience because a lot of the music plays a good pivotal role in how a scene is set, how a moment is put on the screen on the YouTube whatever, and something to just make it a little less lifeless, to make it just spring full of life. And then we'll see if I'll add some finishing touches. Maybe I'll add a sound effect or two more, or maybe I'll just I'll recycle through like background music. Wait, this doesn't sound right, I gotta use something else. And just a bunch of edits I'll be make the screen shake or something, or make the transition a little more cooler, smoother or something. Bring it to life. And then that pretty much completes it for like, because I do these things in like acts now. Like because at first I was like, I'm gonna edit the whole damn episode like from straight to finish. That was so much work. Now I've done it in a way where it's easier, where it's like it's more structured. I'll do like here's act 1. And then act 2, and then 3, and it's usually like 3 acts. Okay. And now it's we rinse and repeat all that for like 2 other all the shit I was just saying. Repeat all that process for the other 2 acts and stuff. But it's usually easier because all the lines have been edited down by them, and I'll just be going about it, bringing my visions to life. And then rinse and repeat for that, and then we kind of I'll at the very end of it I'll edit the intro because that was all made just something popped out of my mind. I was like because like in issues like 1 through 5 it was kind of plain, and then after that it was like, let's give it some color, let's give it some life. Let's put the fairyland background. Do you have a theme song? Or it was a theme song, that's made by because I was very grateful to know that this comic is more niche than I thought, and there was this band that just did a song that was like pretty much a theme song to it. And I was like, this is very lucky because, not only that the other people that did this adaptation before me, the two other people who did it, they use that same song. So I'm like, I want to use that same song.
Oh,
and it's like,
okay.
this song is like over like I think a decade old now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even known because it's like it's like niche comic, but so I'll the intro, I'll update it, I'll update the credits, and then I'll put all the parts together that are done, and then episode's done, it's ready to go. And Woo. that's my whole process. You learned it, guys. I hope you get a little insight on what happens.
A week long.
Yeah, a week long. More like it takes, like, doing this is like almost near a month.
Oh
I've been getting better. No, I've been getting a lot better with how I do it, so I can do it a little. If I'm motivated enough, I'll do it a bit quicker. But I don't want to do it a bit quicker because it's like I feel like that takes away. Like if I do it too fast, then it's like it comes out like shit.
Yeah.
But I want to take my time on it. I want to make it the best. People, they love it. They love seeing it. They love watching it. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Pete. Thank you, everybody who's watching and loving it and supporting it. I love you guys. So how about this? We're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna explore how the media that we've consumed, how it reflects. Yeah, it's all exciting. We're gonna explore how the media that we've consumed, how it's a reflection of the content we create, and how all that we can express that. So, join us after this funny little commercial break.
We're the Kodak Fun Saver cameras. Black Hat World, here we come. Film and camera, all in one. We go where no camera would dare. We're here to save the day. 103 panorama. Kodak Fun Saver is the camera. Get a view wide as Timbuktu. Here to save the day. Dive right into the water. We go where no camera oughta. Your vacation looks sensational. Kodak Fun Saver camera. Save the day. See ya.
And we're back from that funny little break. I do wonder what kind of media from like 1980 or I don't know. It's just some random commercial probably found it from a company that's probably dead or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So anyways, like I said before the break, we would talk about how the media we've consumed is a reflection of how we create our content and how / how we express that. So tell me, what kind of media have you consumed? Whether that's like TV shows, movies, or like animation, or just like graphic novels. I don't know, like just media. I don't know how has that affected you, or how has that been a reflection of the content you create?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I think so. Growing up and everything, I always was very into music and acting and movies and everything like that, and I've always tried to kind of dissect each song and kind of see how did that make me feel, and then I like to go and look a little bit deeper into how did the artist feel when they made the song, and I watch interviews with them. I'm like, oh, that's what the song's really about. Right. But when I heard it, I had a completely different vision, a completely different story, and everything in my head. So it's a lot of just I can't even give you a specific one, but I have just I listen to every kind of music, ever, and then and it's going back to actors and stuff like that, that's a lot of emotion and everything, and the way they can just turn it on for a role or something like that is something that's really interesting to see. So it's not really the specific content, but it's more the different people that I have seen and everything, that the way they portray a certain role and everything is what inspires me to be able to get a sense that I can turn on that quick emotion and everything for a project that I'm doing and stuff. So
wow, that's interesting. Because you were talking about actors and stuff, how you dissect their moments or their scenes, or what they've been in. There's a really good interview like based like a show like called Actor on Actor.
Okay,
from
yeah,
Variety.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I love. I've been getting kind of a little bit into that only because it was not recent now because we're recording this. But the one where they had Margot Robbie and how do you pronounce his name? Cillian Murphy.
Oh, Cillian
Murphy.
Murphy.
Cillian.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like.
I thought it was Cillian.
Yeah, I thought it was Cillian too. It was like, yeah, but Cillian Murphy, Margot Robbie, like their whole conversation was just really engaging to me, and just seeing like
It's cool to see like the way like they come together and everything to talk about it. And they all have different outlooks on it.
Exactly.
So.
Somebody should get a raise for whoever put them together because Barbenheimer.
That's true.
Yeah,
funny.
but I've been getting into it and I've seen a few of the episodes and stuff, and it's just I like seeing their perspective, their different perspectives, how they these two unlikely actors that are put in the same room, how they like can just conversate about themselves and their careers and the moments they've had, and it's just so interesting. What's it called? Going on to like the media I've consumed, being a kid who grew up watching quite a lot of cartoons, I was not so enamored in watching a lot of like live action, like just movies and stuff. Like that happened way later down the line for me.
Yeah.
Like as later down the line as like maybe a few years ago.
See, it was like I was watching that like when I was like little, and then I watched cartoons.
Wow. Two sides of the same coin. But it's just a lot of animation stuff. Whether it's like Western animation or anime from the Asian countries and stuff like Far East and stuff. And it's just that's kind of how that's derived from how I approach my vision and stuff. Like I'll just take something from that, or I'll like every now and then I'll just sit down and watch like a good probably one of my favorite Disney movies or just animated movie in general, or just like show or something, and it's like I don't know, it's just that's just how I grew up. That's just the media I consumed as a kid growing up. And what's it called, and it really shows because I remember one of the like members from the cast of I Hate Fairyland, I remember we just were conversating after we got his lines done, because I'll sometimes do that. I try not to take it too much of the time, but I'll conversate with him, and he told me that like the way you structure your episodes, it's something really akin to like a Saturday morning cartoon. I mean, of course, I Hate Fairyland's not like Saturday morning cartoon. It would never pass as one because it's so like vulgar and it's implied vulgarity, and it's pretty gory. It's like they'll show a guy's head chopped off, blood everywhere, but it's like it's supposed to be like that like humor and the vulgarity and that kind of realm. But aside from all that, like it really does feel like a Saturday morning cartoon because it's like cold open, intro, and then acts 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, and then the episode's done. Nice. And I was like, you're kind of right. This is something that people like. If it's some weird way would be like, if you're to put this shit on like a fucking CRT or something or whatever, you'd probably make it look like it's from Saturday morning. But
cool.
It's just my dumb vision, my dumb like what if, right? But yeah, it's when it comes down to that. And all that stuff, like whenever there's like a moment that I really want to do something cool with it, or just do something like focus on it so much that like I'll try to make it come to life as much as I can. Like any chance I'll get, I want to make something rightfully dramatic. I want to make something grand and comedic, or just generally something of quality with how the narrative is presented.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool because it's like you mentioned how like you grew up watching like a lot of cartoons and stuff, and it's cool because that's like a reflection of like the kind of content that you make now, and it's like we consumed it so young and everything, and like I mentioned, I consumed like a lot of movies and dramatic stuff like that when I was younger, and it's cool to see how that's a reflection of, you know, what we do now and everything. When we were younger, we consumed that. Yeah, and it really shows because there was I think there was I'm going to just talk about two moments that I've heard a lot of people like tell me time and time again is I Hate Fairyland issue 4, I think it was, where it was issue 4, and it was this big like scene with like in this mirrored dimension. Okay. We get a very good tense moment between the current the current antagonist of that arc, Queen Claudia, which you know, I have to give big shout out to the actress who voiced her. I love you. You're great. And but so anyways, when I was first doing that, I was thinking to myself, how can I make this moment of tension like really exude, like not just because of the music, but I'll touch on the music thing, not just the music, but with the performance of the actors and stuff, because you know, at first it's like it's kind of a little bit of a standoff, you know, it's Gert and Larry against Claudia, and it's kind of like a 2-on-1, and then you know at some point you know, Larry's taken out of the equation, and now it's just a standout. Now it's just a tense moment, this rivaling tense moment between the Queen and this little girl who's made the Queen's life hell. And when I was recording all of that, I was really thinking, okay, you know, we need, from Claudia's actress's standpoint, like we need something that, you know, give me like, you know, just something like you want to tear this little menace's like hair, little curls out of her head, like, you know, like just antagonistic, right? And then you have Gertrude, who's like taunting Claudia, and you know, just, you know, kind of sort of flexing her position, knowing that, you know, you can't kill me because in this world, you know, I'm the guest, quote unquote guest, and you know, the guests can't be harmed by the Queen. And they all did such a good job with it. You know, some of it was my direction. A lot of it, I have to give them the praise because they made that scene come to life more than it did. You know, Claudia's actress with the just the snapped anger. She can go from sweet to, with the character, she can go from sweet to just completely like visceral, like angry and vigorous. She is so talented. I love it. And then not to mention Gertrude and her actress, like, you know, again, there's that kind of like, you know, she can be such a little like a little like annoying like fucking like characters, like just taunting and like in your face and stuff, and just like, oh man, she could really put her foot down with this performance. Like they're both so incredible how they did that. The mirror scene will forever, like, for me, be like one of my favorite moments from like that first arc. And just that particular issue and thing, and the whole argument, or that whole like moment came out so satisfyingly well. And the music, I don't know if you guys know this, but every music that plays when a character is present, it really I like to think that it pertains to that particular character. In that mirror scene, it's all like this classical music building up to something like sinister, because they're not in their, you know, Claudia's not in Gert and Larry's domain. It's Gert and Larry that are in Claudia's domain. She has more power here than the both of them like realize and stuff, and whatnot. And it's like this like very I don't remember the piece of music that it is, but it's like just so good. And I'm satisfied with that. Wouldn't change it. Another like way that my media consumption like has kind of portrayed itself onto you know, the stuff I create was I Hate Fairyland #8. It was just a big anime episode. It was a big, like, it had all the sound effects from Dragon Ball. It had all the music from, like, I try to get as much music as I can without getting copyright strikes. But it's where I wanted to, I at least try to limit it to just one, because the majority of that music is like royalty free, like rock music. So I try to find stuff that was like, can I get rock, but with like it's digitized rock, because it's like they're traveling inside of a big arcade cabinet. It's this big like fighting arena. It's like a big fighting game,
And like it's so cool because there's it all plays out like an anime episode would. You know, it's like I'll fight each and every one of these things. I'll just get more powerful as they go on, and it gets tougher and stuff. And in the middle of the episode, I know it's just a small tidbit, but there's an eye catcher, which is in anime. It's supposed to be like a little animation that plays before and after a commercial break. So, some animes won't do it. So, I think a majority of shonen anime does it. And they have eye catchers. I made one eye catcher that was kind of more derived from the anime Gurren Lagann. Yeah. Because it'll have like the same sort of, the visualization of the eye catcher. And it was that and like some other eye catcher. Because I thought to myself, okay, it's going to have like a cool little guitar riff. And then when it comes back from the when the other second eye catcher plays, it's like just that tune but in reverse, and so it sounded cool either way. Yeah, and I like the way it came out because it's like a nice, it's sort of like these eye catchers just kind of show the logo or something pertaining to the logo of like the thing that it's doing the episode on. Yeah, and I created that stuff like because I was like, this looks cool. Like, let me get this Gert skull and shit, and also let me put the logo like smack dab with like a render of Gertrude or something, and it just looked so good. There was a lot of ideas that went on the cutting room floor that I was like, okay, maybe it's like this render of Gertrude or this render of Larry, but I ultimately just decided this is all like Gertrude type story here. Yeah. And all that. Also, I'm sorry, but I just touch on episode 8 just a little more. Episode 8 was probably the most challenging because there was so much moving. There was so much sort of like assets I had to create. But I'm so satisfied with it. Yeah. And in the end, it's like there's a lot of moments in there. There's this one where she's punching this guy like over and over and over and over and over, and it's like I had to take the little fists of her thing and just move it. Oh my gosh! And it's just so good. Yeah, it's just so good. I love it, and man, that whole thing is, I'm proud of it. Yeah, it's probably the only two favorite moments so far. But I'm sure there's more, but those are the only two that really stick out to me. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say while you're on this topic, on this like media consumption bit? I don't think I have anything. Okay, Nar. Okay, well, with that being said, we're moving on to questions and answers, so that's fun. Okay, we only got so many this time, but you know what? We're going to make them count because that's how we do it and all that cool stuff. So here we go. Well, first question here comes from Inkworth, and they asked, what software do you use for editing and making videos? What do you use?
Ugh. Oh my gosh. Microsoft Clipchamp. Adobe. Is that how you say it?
Adobe? Yeah. It's Adobe. It's Adobe. Adobe.
Yeah. Adobe. Yeah. Photoshop, and there's a couple of other things that I don't know the name, but it's just a lot of different, like, what do you call it? Like things that are like, okay, I need it for just a few seconds, so I'll download the software really quick. So
right, I use the
a lot.
I don't actually use a lot.
Okay.
The only two I use are Audacity, and actually I'm using 3 now because I used to use just 2. It was Audacity for audio editing and stuff, and just all that cool like audio effects biz stuff. And I use HitFilm Express because that one was like the only free one that I looked at, and I was like, it's got a high learning curve, but it's, when you
heard that Logic is also good.
Logic I heard also is really good. I heard DaVinci Resolve is also pretty good.
Okay, I've heard of that.
But I would have to. I mean, like, I don't think I'll see myself upgrading to another editing software anytime soon. At least until like I'm like, man, I think it's time we learn another one. But we'll see because. I don't know how I think DaVinci Resolve is just like HitFilm Express, where it's got a high learning curve. But when you learn that high learning curve, it's like it's good. Besides, if I know the basics of one editing program, I think I should have a higher chance of like not being too out of my element with another editing program. But it really depends. I heard like the best one on the market out there right now is Adobe Premiere because it's like
Yeah.
but you gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't got money to spend for like I don't got fucking money to spend for like months on end every year. Like I know I'm a content creator, but god damn it. Anyways, this next question comes from Ramen Retro. We love you, Ramen. And their question is, my question stupid, but bucket hat or normal hat?
Bucket hat. Normal hat.
But
You like bucket hat?
I've never worn a bucket hat.
Me either.
No, I think if I think normal hat for me, to be honest. Whether that's a cap or a straw hat or something, I don't know what he means by normal hat, but
normal hat.
I guess normal
baseball
hat.
cap.
Normal hat, yeah. Okay, so now our next question here comes from Gray Raj, and they asked, what's your favorite and least favorite part of your creative process? And what's something you want to change going forward? That's a good question, Raj. You want to?
You go first.
I go first? Okay. So my favorite part of the creative process is it's a tie between sitting down with the actors and doing the sessions with them, because that's fun. We get to have a lot of laughs during it, and it's like perfect. It's a perfect ground for seeing like what kind of bloopers happen and all that. Just funny little moments that happen between. And it's tied between that, and it's also just doing like the editing, like the visual editing stuff, making assets and all that cool stuff, because you never know what I could use and stuff. So it's tied between that. My least favorite part has to be probably doing the audio editing. The audio editing is just such a pain, because it's like it's like fucking, you know, this. If I'm doing like lines 1 through 20, it's like it's not even like it's not one line per like, you know, it's not one take per line. It's like 3 or 4 takes. Maybe there's a single golden take in there, and maybe just be like, okay, that one's good. That's why I picked it, or like that's what it's there. And it's just like, you know, you have to listen to them like over. I mean, it's not maybe it's just me being like completely brain dead from having to listen to these things over and over and over and over again, but. It's not just the over and over and over part that does it for me. It's just having to do like the bulk of the work to edit down like which takes are the best and other things. It's worth it in the end, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It really just feels like you're working a tomato plant. You're just picking out the best tomatoes, you know.
Yeah.
By hand.
Yeah.
By hand. There's no machine that does it for you. And for something I want to change going forward, I think it would have to be, I don't know. I think it just have to just be like improving like what kind of stuff I can do in the program, and like the editing program, and like how far I can take it. How far can I go until I start hitting the point of like motion graphic type stuff? Because that's like, for me right now, that's like the peak of like what I'm able to do. Yeah. But yeah, that's for me. What about you? Most favorite and least part of your creative process, and what's something you want to change going forward?
Most favorite, I think it's when it's something that I don't expect. You know what I mean? Like I expected to put this vision out, but when something, you know, I edit something a little bit different, I'm like, oh wait, that came out better than I, you know, wanted or thought it would be, is probably my favorite part. And when it, you know, really when that vision is just completed and stuff. And least favorite, probably like having to start over again on it when it's like you're like, oh okay. And then also probably like the amount of retakes when it comes to like filming and everything. It's like, okay, when I say retakes, I mean like it's so many retakes, so that's probably dreadful.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then what was the
next part of the question is, what is something you want to change going forward?
I think changing going forward, I think like more attention to detail and everything. Like I really want to be able to you know, try to capture different angles more like intimately if I can. And I don't know if this goes into it, but just like better equipment.
Better equipment
too. Yeah, that would make a lot of differences for some projects.
I bet. Man, that's a really good answer. I like that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It really just yeah. No, it's like, get it. We can't all have the best stuff like all the damn time, but we just gotta make do with what we got. I don't know. I've seen people use like because sometimes I'll go out and I'll just like look at like what how other people structure their comic dubs and all that stuff. And I'll look and I'll be like, you could have used a little work with just focusing on this panel. Sometimes people do it in a very clean way, or there's always some sort of trade-off. It's like the acting is, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, I'm just trying to be critical. It's like sometimes the acting could use quite a bit of work. The editing is great, but the acting uses a bit of work. Or the acting's great, phenomenal, but the editing is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why do you have the borders so black? Like the borders are not the same color as like the background part of the comic that's like all white or whatever or something. I don't know. It's always something. It's always something like trade-off stuff. I don't know. There's few out there that I've considered like acting's great, your editing's great. I'm inspiring I'm being inspired off to do something similar like that. To be quite honest with you, I actually have no idea where I started doing like the kind of the way I structure things these days. Because it just I don't know, it probably came from like a lot of sources. I can't name all of them, or I can't really remember a specific point in time where I was like, ooh, like that. But like for me, it just happened over time, and that's how we roll now and stuff. We'll see how far we get when I like however far I get and how things change and stuff. I know there's like a point in time where I just want to be like, hey, let's make words move and like kind of crumble around a bit, make them move. You know how like just like make them crumble, kind of slightly like warp the shape of the letter very slightly and then put that into sequence so that it's kind of like crumpling around and stuff. And we'll see what that happens, because I know there's a lot of ideas I have for future projects that I'm not going to talk about here because that's to be seen, and I'd rather let it all happen when it happens. But there's a lot of interesting ideas I have for the visions that I have for the comics and stuff. Is there anything you want to allude to in the future? You don't have to say outright like what you're planning, but is something you want to just say, guys, I have plans I cannot share with you because the haters will sabotage?
Yeah. I think a lot of, going back to like the things that we've consumed, I feel like acting is something that I want to be able to, put out there more, and not just in myself, but, in other people and everything, helping to capture my vision and everything too. Like, so I think a lot of short films is something that I do want to, work a little bit harder on down the line.
I think I can totally see you doing short films.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think you could, because I know there's a lot of people I've seen or I've met who they do in a way like short films. I think there's a very few people that just like, they're not satisfied with their work, so they just end up like tossing it away.
Yeah.
Lost media.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
And I'm like, I don't know. If you really just let it be out there for a bit, maybe something that ain't revered then could be revered later. Yeah. You never know. And all that. But yeah. That's that's cool. That's a cool. I think I want to see those short films when they come out, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I have to find that courage to, like, put them out there and everything like that, because, I get discouraged because it's like, oh, like, that kind of is just, it's repeating itself. The storyline wasn't good enough, and it's confusing. So,
right.
I don't know.
Right.
Definitely in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it for questions. That was a really short one. I'm really trying to get more people to ask stuff, but it's far and few between. I don't get. As long as I get like one question is like enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Anyways, so with that being said, is there any stuff you want to plug in? You know, like a social media or two or something?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll do mine.
Yeah.
Rosography. Yeah, that's ography because it's videos and photography.
Whoa, hell yeah.
And so many other things that go on there.
Cool.
Let's plug Subculture also.
Subculture.
Yeah, on Instagram and YouTube.
Hey, right? I don't know what some noise that they make. Yeah, don't call me on that. That's not gonna be my catchphrase. Shut up. Yeah, anyways, all those cool social medias are gonna be in the description down below. So you guys better go read down there. Funny little message I might put down there. We'll see. And yeah, you can follow me on Weird Magic Piggy on that very same handle on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget. But yeah, you can follow me on those two platforms and stuff. And yeah, please, give us, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, say something dumb in the comments. Don't say something too dumb though, because you don't want to get in trouble.
Hurt my feelings.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings. So yeah, is there any final comments that you want to make before we wrap this whole thing up?
I don't have any, but this was fun. And
This was fun.
Looking at the pig on the table.
Yeah, there's a pig on the table. There's two pigs on the table. Nobody can see this because it's not video based, but there's a ham from Toy Story, and there's a decal of this very logo you're seeing on the screen right now. But yeah, well, I think, what do I have last to say? I do think this was fun.
Yeah.
I think this was I think this was probably. I think this is going to be my longest episode. Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see. It's probably the longest episode on the podcast. But yeah, this was fun to do. Glad we could talk about, our creative process and stuff. And yeah, and also that, and I'll probably be having a special surprise for you listeners. There's going to be a cool new filler show out. You guys better get ready after this one. All right, it's coming. It's going to have a cool intro on that separate show. But yeah, hope they love it. But that's about it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Ashley, on the Bacon Hour podcast. Bacon Hour, yeah. Please don't.
Do it again.
Yeah. You just want to fucking say it.
We need a button that does that.
No, I'm not putting a soundboard on this jumping. Okay, anyways. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I hope you do leave a subscription and leave a comment and whatever dumb thing. But yeah, I hope you guys can join me for the next episode. We shall see what happens down the road. Thanks for listening, everybody.